Greetings, I've been working on a game which is kind of a traditional old RPG, sort of in the style of the mid-80s, early 80s even. When I was growing up I used to love playing this game Phantasie, which I've always wanted to make a game like this and then sort of expand on it. I guess like a lot of developers do. You know, you get sort of infatuated with games you've played. There's always been something in me that just feels compelled to make this computer role-playing kind of game, but a bit more accessible. There was obviously an old school game, and it was quite archaic and cryptic. Dungeon graphics were different. I'm not really sure why, but I guess so you could just see more on the one screen. Maybe they didn't have enough RAM to fit it in. So, you know, it would say this guy's hit your character for this much damage, you've hit him for this much damage. Back to my game. We've got some pixel arty stuff. There's a dungeon. We go in. We're in a sort of a dungeon mode view. Oh, scary goblin. So at the moment I've just got one-on-one kind of combat, and I've only got 8 health because I've just started the game. I always like the tension in Phantasie of having to sort of dash back to town, and you're sort of wondering whether to risk going further and just to uncover a bit more stuff because you're already so far in and it's going to take you ages to come back. I've tried to make this have the same sort of tension but also start off a little easier. Now I've got picking up some loot there. Sort of slightly randomized amounts of treasure each time. Oh, scary rat. Been doing the art myself. Not very good, but it's been fun anyway. Some of the art's by my friend Ben, but I've sort of been reworking things and adding terrain and monsters. So we've got 10 health left. We better run away. Oh. It's getting down to the borderline. 7 health. So we'll run back to town. Got heaps of gold, but not yet 100. We need 100 XP to level up. So, we can see some treasure over there taunting us. We've got everything out of that dungeon, so let's... Ooh, a bandit. Bandits are on the roads. I've got sort of different monsters on different terrain tiles. Currently just one prescribed monster. Jesus, he's kicking my ass. He's killed me. So I have been punished. I'm back to the start. I should have saved. I've got a save button. It saves where you've been, what you've seen, whether you've picked up the chests or not. Anyway, I got my ass kicked. There's a snake. So, see it? Remember, we've gone back to the start, so we haven't revealed any of this dungeon. Let us go forth and find treasure. So anyway, I was just excited to get some basics working and then try to build some more sort of systemic gameplay on it, like that maybe... He killed me again. I'm not paying attention. You can decide what you're wearing, which obviously makes you stronger or more resistant to damage, but may also provoke different characters to respond to you differently. So if you just wear rags, then maybe when you confront a bandit, he just sort of says, "Oh, hi there, peasant, go on your way," and you just kind of keep going. So you sort of trick them. So if there's an area with a lot of bandits, you might put on clothes appropriately. Or if you're going to go and visit the palace, then you might want to put on your fancy clothes, or the guards will say, "Ah, be gone, peasant, you know, the king doesn't have time to see you." So building stuff like that into the game could be interesting. Obviously, building the land and the dungeons around a story that makes sense across you know, what kind of characters you're encountering. 1 health left. I'm going to save it anyway and see if I can get home. So he's died, so it'll load back to where I was. I'm just going to keep running the gauntlet. I'm going to save here because I'm not dead. Ho ho ho! So I don't have much experience. I need to... Let's save it because I'm alive. I'm going to run around in the mountains and fight a troll. Found a troll in the mountains. Poor rock troll. I'm going to beat him up. So I want to make it so that you don't always encounter monsters. You don't always need to fight them. If you always fight them, Maybe you're the monster. Maybe you should be nice to some of them. Thinking like with snakes, maybe they don't attack you as soon as you encounter them. They'll just be neutral, and if you attack them then they'll fight back, but otherwise maybe you just should leave combat or flee or what, you know, pick other options or greet them. You obviously wouldn't greet a snake, but you could just walk away. Now I've got 116 XP and enough gold to level up, so I'm going to go to town. So I've leveled up, I've filled up my health, now I've got 60 out of 60 instead of 20 total health. Spent my gold, I've now got, my toughness has gone up. I've only got one stat at the moment, which is toughness, which sort of covers everything, and it counts basically how much damage you can do to a monster. I'm at level 2, so I'm going to save it, and now I'm probably actually better prepared to go in here. But I don't need to because I've cleared it out, but there's other dungeons. I could probably go up into this dungeon up here with the goblins, but they are a bit tough. But you can go in a bit of a way and then run away again. Probably can't make it through the whole dungeon though until you're about level 4 or 5. I think what I like about this style of game is the graphics are simpler, so you can do more behind the background, like what Richard Garriott has done with the Ultima games, where he built a few games and then he started to think, well, let's make it about something more. Let's make it about the virtues, and you know, he has them donating blood to make sacrifices to help people, and he measures your honourability by letting monsters flee. I like the idea of building this complexity into what looks like a graphically fairly simple game. Allow for emergent gameplay that evokes more thoughtful actions and strategic sort of gameplay, where the player can think about what they're going to wear, how they're going to act in different situations. And I quite like the sort of pixely, old school retro graphics that are still evocative of a place and a culture, without necessarily being realistic. I also like the way in this game as well, again, he's got parties of characters, so you can have, you know, they can each specialise in different ways and level up individually, and you're managing, they can, you know, give the item to the person who can use it the most. You know, it plays into the traditional Dungeons and Dragons class system, and ideas of a party of characters like from Lord of the Rings and, you know, many fantasy books. And I'd like to build parties of characters into my game, because I think that is a really cool element. I also like that you can sort of simulate a whole world and make it come to life. You can have shops, and you can have a sort of an economy and build a real feel of being in a place. I also like the idea of trying to emulate things like seasons and night and day, and having them affect the sort of monsters you will encounter in different terrains, different parts of the world, depending if it's daytime or nighttime. Like you might have zombies come out of graveyards at nighttime, but during the day they're safe to walk through, things like that. So now what we've got here is my Excel tables. So this is my map. These are the dungeon areas you go to when you, so if you go into the dungeon there, I've got another table that tells the XY coordinates to sort of teleport over here, and then when you pop out, you might pop out somewhere else. Could also just have teleporters so that if you go in like a little portal here, it could like zap you over here or anything. I'm just currently using this bit, and the video I just showed really just showed this little bit here. One of my goals for the game would be to make something that's sort of quite epic in scope, or it's a large world, which is harder to do on mobile because this is for iPad. Could be for any platform, but it's sort of mainly for iPad. But as you can see, there's all this room down here. This is actually loading into the game, and even though you can't get to it over this water, there's actually a whole lot down here. Plenty of room for more dungeons. I could sort of make this as big as I want, although it would probably add to the memory usage and the load and save times. There's the bottom of the map at the moment. I think it's about 430 rows and about 300 wide, including the space I've allowed for the dungeons. I try to do as much as I can in tables because they let you do stuff more data driven, where you sort of build some systems and then really just work with the data to sort of express your story, which kind of makes things more fun. Like working on that map is fun. I just go in and copy and paste. You know, I'll copy grass and then I'll just go paste, use it like a paintbrush and sort of paint these roads and where the towns are and where towers and castles and things are, and I can add them just by creating a new art asset that's got a certain file name. And like this has got grass, mountain, tree, so I can just, if I want to make a new one called fountain, then I can just type in fountain here. I'd probably give it another colour so I can see it easily when I zoom out, like this or something, and then go into Photoshop, make an image called fountain, import it in, and then when I run the game it'll appear there. It's easy, I don't have to actually touch the code or anything, I just do that. So that's cool. The game only sees, you know, about that much at once or something. So when you start, there's the town and the road, that's the dungeon you go in with the rats in it. And then I went up here to the goblin den. What else we got? I've just got a table with the different monsters in it and their hit points, min, max, that sort of randomizes each time you make one. A description for them that I'll probably show in the game. But yeah, I'm just sort of building the basics now, so it's basically about exploring the map, saving and loading the map, revealing where you've been, and now the dungeons, which sort of I think add a nice layer of complexity. It'd be cool to make a dungeon where you go in the dungeon and then from inside the dungeon you can go down a level, or you know, even little secret passages, so if you go through a door it sort of teleports you over to another area of the map as if you've gone through a little secret passage, stuff like that. Yeah, so that's good fun. Just thought I'd do a little update video to show off those sort of systems. I should be working on my other game, B Grade Renegade, but this is more fun.